Don't get caught in the vanity metrics. Look at your metrics in 6 weeks. You're going to see the results in the 6 weeks. And if you're not seeing it 6 weeks, then we've got to pivot and see what it is going on. And it could be as simply as changing it from I to you in your conversation. Because the more you can say you, how are you, the more you're going to bring people into you and build that bond rather than you say, well, I feel this way.
Welcome to the Societygal Podcast, where trailblazing female entrepreneurs and creatives come together to spark change and build their dreams. This is where your passion meets purpose, and together, we're crafting a future where everyone has the tools to succeed. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Societygal Podcast. We are so excited to have Lisa Benson here with us today to talk all about fostering innovation and creativity in marketing through diversity. There's a lot of big, awesome things we're going to talk about, an amazing mission, and so many things to learn from her. So we're just going to jump right in and have Lisa talk about your story. So what got you to a place where you're helping women veterans with their marketing and brand development? So tell us how you got here.
First of all, thank you for having me on, but let's dive right in. So I am a veteran myself, and it puts me in a platform where I understand where veterans are coming from, not just them, but women's veterans. So I feel like that I have that connection, and that gives me that chance. I served 9 years in the Army. I think so often we think of female veterans as just behind a desk or a nurse. I was actually a machine gunner, so I have a frontline experience that gives me a little bit more understanding of a lot of the challenges that go on. And I got out of the military. I was really struggling. I had some allergic reactions to some things that were seized. My body was solid eczema score. So I got into massage therapy to help that. Not to help that, but to think about helping veterans in a way that I could make an impact on their lives. That was fun, but I couldn't get rid of their energy. So I decided that I was going to try something else and got my master's in public administration because I was going to really help veterans. And the bottom kind of fell out of government jobs. So from there, I moved on to working with some nonprofits. I played roller derby for a lot of years. So when you see DeBella DeBall Designs, that's because that was my roller derby name that I just brought in and brought on for my business. Because I didn't want to lose that identity. That was 12 years of my life, for roller derby. So with that, it allowed me to really get to know what I wanted. I did marketing for the nonprofit. And then from there, I was like, you know what, I could really help. I started helping small businesses and people in the roller derby industry. And then I decided, no, I really want to do more. I want to go back and help the veterans. That's been my goal since 2004. When I got back from Iraq, I've always wanted to help veterans. So roundabout way to get there. In 2017, I started my agency. And in the last few years, I've really honed in on helping female veterans get their voices heard. Not only heard, you want your business to grow, you want to be seen and heard.
I love that. I love throughout your journey, you just kept, I want to help veterans. I want to help veterans, even though sometimes in your path went different directions, but that mission or the heart of what you really wanted to do has always been there, which is just beautiful how it's developed now. And you're helping people in their, specifically female veterans in their business. Touch on a little bit more. Why really do you want to help female veterans? I know you are one yourself, but what's something that you're just like, this is like really like my heart is on fire, why I want to help them specifically, and why not everyone else?
I'm always willing to help people. But the big thing for veterans, specifically female veterans, is often we're not heard. We're not heard at all. I've been to groups for PTSD, and because I'm a female that was a machine gunner, you walk in and you're one female amongst many males who don't feel like you've had the same experience they did because they've bought into that old narrative that females only sit behind a desk or they're a nurse. They don't understand the complexities. Plus, with the rise of, I won't say the rise of sexual assaults or SA, they're not on the rise. They're just being spoken about. To give women a chance to feel like they can thrive, not just survive post-serving, is huge.
Yes, I love that. I love how you kept saying like giving them a voice, because I'm guessing with the situation that you're talking about, a lot of women don't have a voice within those situations. And so I love how you're now giving people the opportunity to have one in their life when they may not have had one before, or really a path to do that. So Lisa, how do you really help people foster innovation and creativity in marketing and through diversity? So how do you do that? I feel like there's a lot there, but how do you bring like a unique take and a unique strategy and mission for what you do?
So often in marketing, we hear that your message, your mission. In a lot of ways, that is the truth. But so often when your voice has been muffled You have to really get to the truth of behind why you want to do what you do. So with specifically female veterans, we spend a lot of time getting to know them, getting to know their story, celebrating who they are, why they're unique, and the differences that they have compared to their competitors, so that we can give them that platform to jump off of for their marketing. Because you don't just want to slap something out. You want it to be authentic to you, and you have to know your story in order to be authentic to you. So from there, we get to know their business and we get to know them. And then we go in and we actually audit it all to make sure that what is being said on paper is what they're feeling inside. Because we could be all in a different chapter in the book, and we need to figure out where they're at in order to be able to grow what they want to do. And then so often, to go back to what we talked about earlier, we don't feel empowered to tell our story. And the most authentic thing you can do to help with your marketing is be authentically yourself. Be you, tell the trials, tell the tribulations. So often on social media, all is the glory. You don't see the pitfalls of, I didn't hit the mark today because I wasn't feeling right. I wasn't feeling right. Why? Because this stuff bubbled up from the surface, or from that I put down here. I shoved it away. And if you can get authentic with you and write out, we have them journal. We have them talk about the things they've got going on. We've got a couple of weeks worth of content to build through some of the lies we tell ourselves. And then from there, we grow into fixing their marketing. Because if you don't know all that stuff, you're never going to be able to get to your end goal.
Yeah. And that's what's so special about you as a woman veteran, serving woman veteran. You're dealing with a lot of people that have very special experiences or special life experiences to them that also have a lot of trauma and things like that are just so specific to what your experience is as a woman veteran. And you always say the power is in the story, and that's how you're really going to make the marketing plan, the marketing strategy. But I think that we talked about before is you'd really just help people get rid of the layers that built up and block themselves from telling the real story or embracing it or embodying it in what they do, which is really awesome.
So there are some people that we've had to refer elsewhere because it's beyond the scope of what I can do. I'm here to help. I can guide. I can approach you. But there are resources that we can put them in touch with and that kind of thing. I know that you've got a family member that's got some history with dealing with these kind of things, who know that a coach in a marketing agency don't have the resources in-house to handle those kind of things.
But how cool it is that they can come to you as someone who has a voice that can point them to the right places, which is just really awesome. So I think there's a lot of people that don't know where to look or don't have that hand to hold to take them where they need to go. And one more thing I'm going to say is we're talking about fostering innovation and creativity, is when you do help someone open up to where they can tell their story, be truthful with themselves. I think that's where creativity and innovation thrive the most.
That's actually the biggest jumping off point you can have.
Then you can blossom and go from there. But I think it's that the hard part is getting to that point where you can be free flowing and everything.
Yeah, because often that's the blocker. Every time you don't want to be vulnerable because you haven't been able to engage that part of yourself because you're so busy squashing it because you were vulnerable at some point in your life, whether it was within your control or not.
Yeah. And having to bring that up. I love that. That's so cool. So inspiring. So let's talk about, because again, very specific to military experience, but let's talk about how your experience in the military comes into digital marketing. Like what tools or things that you've learned and your clients specifically, what they've learned in the military that has helped strengthen their presence or strengthen their digital marketing strategy.
So the biggest thing is looking at big picture, where you want to be. Where do you want to be 6 months from now, a year from now? And then backwards planning. Backwards planning is huge in the military so that you can know what your ETA, which is estimated time of arrival, is. And when you're looking at that, you need to be able to be adaptable. And we learned that when we were on mission. We learned that as you're creating things, because there's always a people factor to the matter. In marketing, it's people and money. I think that's probably most of life, right? People and money. But if you have the people, but you don't have the money, you don't have the people anymore. And then if these kind of ebbs and flows, so you have to be able to pivot, but not get caught in the shiny, which I think we talked about the other day quite a bit. But so often there's a new trend, a new topic, a new something. And it's okay to move into that direction, but don't just stop the momentum you have to go that direction. Because if you stop the momentum you have and go the other direction, you're never making forward motion. You're constantly going lateral, and you want to go forward and you want to get to your goals. And you're going to be your biggest problem in that matter. A roadblock is probably the most buzzwordy word that we've got. You build your own roadblocks because you're just oh, so-and-so is using, we'll throw ClickFunnels and Go High Level because that's big in marketing. They're using ClickFunnels. Oh, but they moved to Go High Level. So I'm going to move to Go High Level. You spend 3 months getting it into your Go High Level. And then somebody else is using another form. And then you just constantly move and you just don't ever move forward. So don't get caught in the shiny. Take your big picture items and move backwards. I didn't figure this out overnight. It took about 4 years. I got caught in the bright and shiny. You still have those moments and you can add it in as a layer. You just can't let it take over. But pick a CRM, stick with it unless they go belly up or it's not effective for you. Then the biggest thing when you're building out your backwards plan is what's your end goal? What's your mission? And how are we going to get there? And when you're looking at your items, is this the new bright and shiny? Is this along the lines of what I need? Is this mission essential or not? If it's mission essential, look at it and bring it in if you absolutely need it. If it's not, put it to the wayside, put it on a note to look at 6 months down the line when you're further ahead of where you are now. And then keep it simple.
Mission essential.
Obviously.
I love that term.
It's actually what I call the social media plan I've got is mission essential. And it's just, this is your basic level. It's essentially what you need in order to get started to be seen. And then if we need to grow from there, then we can talk other items. But these are the essential things you need in order to get your business seen and heard online.
Yeah, keeping it simple and essential, I think, is a huge key to growth. It's like the simple consistency of doing the simple things consistently rather than, I think the bright and shiny thing is we want other things to solve our problems and systems to solve our problems that we can buy with a click of a button. We were talking about before with helping people get to that innovative, creative spot. That's deep work. That takes a while. Not necessarily an app that was magical that helped them get there, right? I don't think it ever is that magical app or extra thing. So I love, having that mission and then having the mission essentials and staying on track to that. I mean, now I'm going to make a list of mission essentials, but I love that because when you do pivot, like you said, not going totally vertical, but making that small little thing while staying towards the mission, small little pivots here and there. Because I think that's when we start going backwards, right? Where we start going just stagnant and we're wondering why we're not growing. And
we also need to remember growth isn't this way. Yeah. Ultimately, it gets that way, but it's like a step, not smooth sailing. And if it's smooth sailing, bravo. And I would love to know how you made it be smooth sailing. If you can make that an app, I would buy it.
Yeah, to make that line nice and straight. So what does it take to really be successful? Like when you're working with your clients, when you see people in marketing, what does it really take to get there? When we're talking about like mission essential, we're talking about apps and shiny things, but what in the mission essential do we need to get there? Like what are some vital things? There's a lot of things we could talk about. What are some like vital things to help you stay on that path, that like mission essential path?
The first thing is we talked a little bit about it, the goals. What is your mission, your business's mission? What is your personal mission? And where do you want to be in your
like you always had that mission of serving women veterans, no matter what you were doing.
Had I decided to go this way 10 years ago when I was feeling lost, and when massage wasn't the answer and I was working for nonprofits and dove right back into helping veterans, I'd be ahead of where I am. But in general, it's 1, listen to your intuition, 2, document everything because you might be able to see that there's a trend line that you're not seeing, whether it's a success trend or an emotional trend that you keep tying back to. There's something there that can drive your mission and head you north. Lean into your community, talk to people about mentorship, get mentors. You might not be able to afford a coach, but there are so many communities available to all sorts of people online, on Facebook. Yeah, everybody is trying to sell you something every which way in all of these groups or get you on their email list. And I'm definitely one of those people, whether you are part of my network or not, if you are somebody that has a marketing question, please feel free to email me. We can jump on a call if it's something more than an email response. But I am here to answer questions, DM me, whatever you want to do. I'm Lisa Benson or DeBella DeBall Designs on every platform. So you can find me pretty quickly and I'll be able to give you some sort of guidance there. So mentorship, don't get caught in the bright and shiny, lean into your community, know your goals, and recognize that you want to have a solid platform. If that solid platform is, I know my mission, I know my goals, I have 1 hour a week that I can create social content for the week. So I only get one post, only put one post out that week. And just make that a repeated thing. Once you get comfortable with that, then add another post or another layer or something. Don't try to start out with, I'm going to post 3 times a day, 5 days a week. And then on Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to do 2 lives. And that is not
a New Year's resolution with marketing. You're like, I'm going to go to the gym 5 times a week and I haven't gone at all for the past year. It's like the same thing with posting.
Yeah, it's exactly it. It's, or don't get caught in the vanity metrics. We made mention of this the other day where you go to the gym one time and you're like, why am I not seeing the muscle? It's like you went to the gym one time. Look at your body in 6 weeks. Look at your metrics in 6 weeks. You're going to see the results in the 6 weeks. And if you're not seeing it 6 weeks, then we've got to pivot and see what it is going on. And it could be as simply as changing it from I to you in your conversation. Because the more you can say you, how are you, and those kind of things, the more you're going to bring people into you and build that bond rather than you say, well, I feel this way. I don't know if that makes any sense at all. There's so much marketing that is about I.
Yeah. And vanity metrics, there's so many businesses out there that don't have 1 million followers. That may have 500 that are making multiple 6 figures, $1 million business. There's the followers, the views, like all that. I think people hyper fixate on those things in marketing, especially. That's what I see in a lot of marketing or marketing gurus or people like that are like the views and the watches and all those things. And what we're talking about today is really just that core of like innovation, creativity. Like where can you be that person? Where can you be yourself? Because I think that's no matter the views, it'll come if you're the most authentic person or the most like true to yourself.
That is exactly what I feel. Because no matter what, you feel good about what you put out. And if you feel good about it, you're more likely going to put more.
And you're living your life.
I have a mentor who said one day, so if you got 200 views, you got 200 views. That's 200 people you've impacted.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Dana from Societygal, and I wanted to take a quick break to tell you about the Societygal Academy, the exclusive membership that helps entrepreneurs like you launch, grow, and scale your business. Join weekly expert-led workshops, access to on-demand courses, and connect with a supportive network of go-getters just like you. Are you ready to elevate your business? Visit Societygal Academy today.
If you look at it about the impact and the legacy you're leaving versus the views, the this, the that, and
numbers and transactions. Yeah, I think so often with the online world, we start seeing people as transactions or numbers. And that's when we lose that touch that I think it's like the disconnection that a lot of us get lost in.
The perfect realization for me recently was with the influx of TikTok shop. If you're ever on TikTok,
oh my gosh, I was just talking about that to my husband yesterday. I was like, this is so annoying.
It gets
crazy.
And you don't want to be that person if you really want to make a sale. Those are people that are bravo to them for being influencers and making an impact in the way they need to for their family. But we're going to see mark my words, we're going to see a huge shift in influencer marketing. And those people that have the money and got there aren't going to be there for long unless they were smart with their money.
I think there's bigger changes coming too. For sure.
Yeah, they're going to have to.
You can see it more than I can, but I'm sure as a consumer, I'm like, yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, it's definitely, there's some changes coming and it'll be interesting to see. And if your business is set up, you're going to be able to pivot to make those changes.
If you see people who've been in business for a long time, online business for 10 years, 15 years, you've seen them pivot over time, but they just became more true to themselves and they've kept their audience. They've kept their community. They just continually just feed that truth and they feed to their story. But I feel like that's why they're still there. Like they're still there because they just stay true to themselves, not necessarily because a trend came on and they got lucky. Like they've been in there for 15 years. They're just using the tools now to help them out a little bit more.
And they're able to take all that old content and reuse it. There's still some validity to what it was. You could put up, this is what we used to say. Now we say this. There's a lot of things.
Just a little tiny shift in being relevant to today. And that's, I think, just a beautiful place to get to that point. I think that's a great place to be at that point. And so I want to ask you the question is like, why do you think it's important to have a clear marketing and brand strategy? Because it's not only, we are saying a lot of like true to yourself, innovation, creativity, but it really comes down to using the knowledge you have about your story, about what you want and all those things to have a clear marketing strategy. So why is that so important to have that?
It's so important because it is your true north. It is where the success lies. It's where you want to be. And no matter if you're following the trends or not, you still have that place to go. And if you don't have that, it's like going on a road trip without a destination. Those are fun, especially if you're just on that vacation where you don't have a goal in mind. That's great. But when you're looking at your business and you either have to pay yourself or you have to pay employees, you really do need a mission. You really do need something that is driving the needle. And if you don't know where the needle's going, you could be on E or you could be full. depends on what you want to do. That's probably not the best analogy, but in general, if you don't know where you're going, you're lost.
Yeah. And I feel like when new trends come and new platforms come and all those different things that people are using, I think it's like, for example, when TikTok, Instagram, when all those things came, I'm sure there's a lot of businesses that just couldn't keep up with those things. I know personally, there are people in my life who've been in business for a long time, but just could not keep up with certain things to get their business out there and shift with the times because they weren't really coming back to clarifying their marketing and brand strategy. They're just like, my business is here. It's worked. It's going to still work, but not reassessing and developing new strategy, clearer strategy with what's relevant to today.
That's a really good way to put it. I have 2 clients that I kind of battle a little bit with. I don't battle, but they either change their branding and their messaging too much, like looking at it every 6 months. That's a little too much getting into that. You're going to jar your audience. You need to make sure that you're staying true and the changes are subtle, or you do a full rebrand and let your audience know you're doing a full rebrand. And then the other is the people that put it to the wayside and I'll look at it later. And 10 years down the line, you can't even get that font in Google Fonts anymore. That I'm oversimplifying, but you're so far off brand and off trend that you've made yourself archaic. So there's 2 sides to the coin. But the biggest thing is monitor your brand, monitor your image, monitor your reputation. You can do all that by just being consistent. I do a power hour every morning with a friend of mine, and we have a couple other people that jump on and off. It's the best thing because I spend time on my business, not in my business. And that is a huge thing that people don't do. So often, we'll probably talk about this in the future when we talk about some of the issues that I had in the past. But so often we spend too much time in our business that we don't think about the things that are pushing the needle forward for the business. So yeah, you could do it. For mine, it's client work. If I spend so much time on client work, I don't get the chance to either bring more clients in, or I don't get to check out my finances, check out to make sure and look at the actual KPIs that we develop, which we customize for every client because what they're looking for varies depending. But the biggest thing is if you don't spend time on your business and only in your business, you might as well be working for someone else.
I think I love that, the balance of not just like it's working, let's just keep it how it is, but just continually like doing that balance of both. And so I would love to hear about a little client example of like how understanding your client dictates your marketing strategy, and really understanding who they are really does dictate that clarification.
So we talked a little bit the other day when you and I chatted. For those who didn't know, we got on a call just to check out and see where we're at. We talked about one of my coaching clients who really thinks her ideal audience is on Instagram, which they are, but that's not what they're looking. She's a heartbreak coach. They're not looking for her on Instagram. People who are on Instagram are actually looking to get lost in other people's happy lives most of the time, or funny videos or things like that. They're not looking to find someone to help them heal their heartbreak. The actual reality is those people are probably on LinkedIn. How we got to talk to them on LinkedIn is quite a bit different, but she hates LinkedIn. So we had to be able to craft things in a way that get people to her. But it took us a while to get to that point because she wasn't willing to get honest and real with her. She's a fantastic client. I love her dearly. But we can sometimes go battle, AKA we just go, no, that's not what you're looking for. This isn't this. But we were able to pivot and be realistic as to how we were able to attract clients because we got real, got to know the story, got to know what she really wanted out of it. She wanted the people on Instagram because they do a happy life. So if they heal their heartbreak, they can find a happy life. But it took us a little time to understand why she was so fixated on Instagram. So you don't always see eye to eye with your marketing agency or with your clients or whatever you're working on. You just have to get real. And the more you know the story and you get to know the person, you understand the reason why they're so fixated on what it is they're fixated. And that's the simplest way is to say they like what they're seeing on that platform because this is what we do all day long, right? Another place for that specific client would be Pinterest because women are looking for ways to fix things on Pinterest, whether it's to fix how they're cooking in the kitchen, how they're going to sew, how they're going to do this, how they're going to do that. People who are looking to change something in their life tend to get on Pinterest because they can scan and scroll and see what's interesting for them there.
I love that. And tell me a little bit about one more example, if you can. We talked about earlier about the mental health golf coach. So I'd love to hear about different stories or journeys people go through to find like where their client is. Because I feel like we're like, oh yeah, we need all the strategies to find our client. But like you said about that one client, LinkedIn was better for that client. So let's talk about this one. What was better for this one of your clients that was like a mental health golf coach?
Oh, the mental health golf coach. She was so fun. She came in, actually, I do some work for a coach that's amazing. And her clients that come into the business, they hire us to do the marketing for them. And we had a mental health golf coach come in who was definitely, she was struggling. And one of the struggles that she was having was that she wasn't getting the views she was expecting, and she got caught up in the views. So then she was chasing views and creating content to chase views. She was following trends, but not following trends. And a lot of things came down to, she was trying to grow on Instagram and really needed to be on YouTube. And once we figured out that YouTube is where her audience is, because they want to learn about something, they need more than 2 minutes, or depending on which platform you're on, 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes to figure out and learn. And once she got into actually creating quality content on YouTube that was SEO, she started seeing growth. She started seeing exponential results. She's got a book out now. She got partnered with another coaching agency that was looking for somebody that's specifically focused in that. And that's huge because now she's got their network of people that she's able to expose herself to. When we're looking at what you want out of your business, we need to look at the network you want to be in. And that could be, like for me, for veterans, I want to be with veteran groups. I want to be in veteran groups online, but also in person, and show up at the events in general, because I live in a military community here. So there's events all the time. If I want to work with veterans, the best place is to be where they're at. So when we look at it, not just about the physicality of being in their space, we need to look at it digitally and where is their space. So coaches who want to coach people, you need to go to a network event where they're going to be, because she's doing a physical sport. But she's also now coached a shark. She's coached them up from the shark show, whatever it is, where they either all buy it or they pass or they buy in. And anyway, she coached a shark. She's got all these things going on because she was willing to put down the ego, look at what she had to do, look at where her clients were, and it just closed everything for her. Like, she was able to, doesn't mean she has all ideal clients, but the fact that she's able to get the people she needs to make the needle move for her business is essential. And that was just, she put her ego down. We actually broke it down, looked at everywhere where her clients were, and focused in on YouTube. And then whatever was on YouTube, she's been able to dissect and put into shorts, reels, etc. on other platforms. She has just grown exponentially, and I love watching it. And she's one of the people that the stare's a little bigger, so she's going a little bit more this way. But she also had 10 years of running on a hamster wheel, trying to figure out what's going on. Once we actually dove in, we were able to get there. The biggest thing is ask for help. If you're selling jewelry, Facebook is probably not your location unless you're selling jewelry to 55-plus-year-old people. But then you still starting a new Facebook page for that, you're not going to get any traction. You just need that so you can do ads. We can go ad nauseum on all of that stuff. But if people want to see the beauty of it all, then we need to think about where those people that are focusing on that are. And they're not always on the platform you think they are.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that about your clients. I think it's so great to have that insight into what people are going through with this. And like you said, like your client was for a long time just on a hamster wheel trying to figure out where to go. And it really can just take that one focus. Okay, where can we put your focus? Now put all your energy here, and then bam. Man, like you're where you need to be and you're reaching your people. Because there's just so many, again, like there's so many platforms, YouTube, Pinterest, Facebook, Instagram. And I think we often think that we need all of it or need to have all of it to be successful or reach all of our clients. But I love how you say like your clients are in a specific place. You can find that for people.
It doesn't mean that you don't do the other things. You just prioritize the content you're putting out for the platform you're looking at. Another thing to not do is, you might like everything somebody puts out. They're so great. And you try to follow what they do and it doesn't work for you. That's because it's not in alignment with who you are, that vision, that story, that everything. You're following somebody else's goals, ideas, and plans. You're not staying true to you.
Awesome. So let's talk about a few fast questions to end the conversation, because it's been an amazing conversation. But what is your favorite part of what you do specifically? What's your favorite, like heart on fire part of what you do?
I like creating strategy. I like figuring out what isn't working, why isn't it working, and what we can do to make it better. My agency partners with other people, and we definitely focus, like I'm the strategist. We have people that do the other little bits and pieces. but they don't want to do the strategy because that's not where they shine. So I love coming up with strategy and coming up with what makes businesses successful. And it allows me to find it ties the military with the creativity because I'm a deadlines person. I like checking boxes. And when you develop a strategy, you create that for someone else to help them be successful.
I love that. I'm a strategy person too. I love the strategy. One last question. What is one of your biggest failures or turn learning lesson that you had?
I love that you put it as turn learning lessons because so often we think failure is so bad. I got a really good couple clients and I was getting paid very well amongst all of the clients and I stopped lead generating. If you don't generate leads for your business and someone leaves, you have a giant vacuum you've got to figure out how to fill. And it costs a lot more to get a new client in because you just didn't continue to spend time where your clients are. It doesn't mean you have to actively be engaging as far as, hey, you're in doing work for somebody. You could spend time just fostering and nurturing a friendship that could develop into a business partnership of sorts.
I love that. I would love that. A lot of the last question is like biggest failure, turn learning lesson, because, it can always feel like just a failure, but learning lesson. So finish off, like, where can people find you if they want to find you on socials?
On socials, I'm Lisa L. Benson on Facebook or DeBella DeBall. That is me across all platforms, unless you find John DeBella, who is actually a DJ out of Philadelphia. When I came up with my derby name, I did not know there was somebody named that. But I am there. You'll be able to see old pictures of me playing roller derby, depending on which part you're on platforms. And it's a lot of fun. If not, it's DeBellaDeBall.com. And if you email any of the things on DeBella DeBall, like they come to me or my assistant, or my sales guy, who is my husband, who is also a veteran. So if any of those emails that you'll see on my website actually go to my team and we'll be able to answer something for you. And I am available if you have any marketing questions across the board, please feel free to reach out. Because one, it'll help me think about content I want to create, but two, we'll be able to help you.
Well, thank you so much for being on here. It was such an amazing conversation and everyone will come connect with you.
Well, thank you so much for having me.